Okay, let's do our UCOB video guide series. So I'm going to be doing this from a clear video that I have. I'm primarily just doing this to help my static as we get ready to proctor UCOB. I'm going to be doing different videos for each phase, and then when we get to Bahamut, I'll have a different video for each trio. So I'm sure there are better ways to do this fight. This is just ways that I use that worked for me. And so let's get started. We're going to go through with Twintania here. The first thing we need to do is have our markers set up. So just to give you an idea of what we're going to use these for, we're going to use the 1, the 2, and the 3 here for our 3 Neuralink spots. Our number 4 is not going to be used until we get to the add phase. Whenever we have the adds out at the end, that's going to be our set stack point. And then we're going to have A, B, C, and D at cardinal spots to help with Grand Octet and for calling dive bombs when we get to Nael. We do also want to go ahead and set up our quick march spread positions. So quick march is the first trio that's going to happen in the Bahamut phase, but we're going to be referencing these spread positions. You can use them for twister spreads, which we'll go over here in a second, for dive spreads during Nael, and for a handful of other mechanics. So you'll want to set these up. You'll typically have your tanks in the first, tanks up in the front, healers behind them, and DPS in the back. If you're ever going to be doing any party finder, they'll typically call these, R1 through R4 and L1 through L4, respectively. So I want to set those up and assign those positions, and then we can jump into Twintania here. So Twin is going to open up with a plummet, which is just a cleave, so don't be in front of the boss. And then she's going to do her first mechanic, which is Twister, into a stack marker. So Twister is going to snapshot you at the end of your cast bar and drop a puddle under you. And if you get hit by that, or if you run into someone else's, it will blow up and people will die. So what you want to do is, depending upon your ping, you want to be looking at this Twister cast bar. Some people wait until it ends to move. I like to try to move when it starts getting onto the twister, written here in the cast bar, or when my cast finishes. So you cannot really slide cast this if you start casting when the cast bar starts, because it is very fast. So this is just going to take some practice, but you see everyone is kind of spread out, and then we're going to be collapsing behind Twintania here to soak this stack marker. So the twister doesn't target everyone, but it targets 4 random players, so everybody needs to be ready for this. We do also want to be able to cheese this initial stack marker to get as much limit break as we can for the transition from Nael to Bahamut. So what we did is we had 5 people stack with a lot of shields, but you can do this with up to 7 people. You could even have the maintain stack and have everyone, but primarily you're going to want to do this with 5 or 6 people and just figure out what's comfortable for you. When you get Twintania down to 74%, she will drop a Neuralink, and then we're going to be moving to the 2 marker. The first mechanic she's going to do here is a Liquid Hells. Liquid Hells is a baitable mechanic that drops 5 puddles. It does not, by default, target the furthest player. The way that it works is it targets any random player beyond a certain distance threshold from Twintania. So you want to have everyone decently close. Obviously we're close enough here, but say if I were further out, it would be 50-50 if it would target me or the other physical range, and it can switch in between each puddle. So to solve this, just have everyone decently close, have your physical range to go out and bait the 5 puddles, and then she's going to do her first Generate. Generate is going to target a random DPS. It will not target tanks or healers, and it's going to mark them for a hatch marker. The hatch is just a ball that will follow you, and then when it hits you, it will explode for lethal damage and kill you and anyone around you. So to resolve this, you want to soak it in the Neuralink, which reduces the damage that you take, but it also reduces the damage that you deal by 90%. So you don't want to hang out in the Neuralink, you just want to dip in, soak the orb, and then get out. Neuralink does reduce healing, but only by 10%, so it's not nearly as punishing for healers. But for DPS, you just want to get in here, soak the orb, and then step out. After this, Twintania will do another Liquid Hells. You can see that she's casting that right now. If the physical range DPS that you're using to bait the Liquid Hells gets targeted for this hatch, this Generate, then you need to have a backup person. So you can either use your caster. If you have a summoner, they have ways that they can be able to maintain uptime while baiting. Obviously, we have 2 physical range, so that was our backup. You can also use astrologians or scholars as good backups as well. But you need to be able to communicate, and so if your physical range says, you know, hey, I've got hatch, you need to have your backup go out and be ready to bait the second set of liquid hells. So you can see this is coming around, and then she is going to be doing Death Sentence, which is a tank swap. So that's a tank buster and swap. And then she's going to be doing her second generate, but this time with a twister. So you have to bait the twister first before you go in to soak the hatch. So just stand outside, wait till the end of the cast bar, go in and soak the hatch. Pretty simple. Once you get her to 44%, she will drop her second Neuralink and then move over to 3. If you don't have her at 44% here, she's just going to repeat that sequence of mechanics. So it'll be another baited liquid hells. But as long as no one dies, pushing her there is pretty easy. So we're moving on to the last part of Twintania. She starts again with a baited liquid hells, and then she's going to follow that up with 2 generates. So we have 2 generates and 2 Neuralinks, right? So you just want to communicate and let everyone know where you're going. And then after this, she does a random liquid hells. So this one cannot be baited. It can target anyone except for the main tank, and it can target you if you are in here soaking a hatch. So you need to resolve your hatch and then move out to bait the puddles. While this is going on, she does also do a stack marker. So I'm going to be addling here to reduce the damage from the stack marker. We're just going to soak our generates. The puddles are going to be baited, and then we come in and soak the stack marker together. Now you can get the generate and the stack marker and the liquid hells. So if you get that, you just need to know you're dropping 5 puddles. You can drop them in a sequence, like if you're back here, you can drop 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then come in, or you can kind of go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then come in this way. That's just going to come with practice, but it is something that you'll see a lot while you're progging this fight. So after this, she's going to do another tank swap and follow it up with another plummet, which is a cleave. So we're going to do the tank swap. The warrior's going to get behind. She's going to do the cleave on the gunbreaker, and then we'll move into the last part of Twintania here, which is another double generate, but this time with twister. So you need to bait the twister out, then go in and soak the generates, and that's all of the Twintania mechanics. After this, she just repeats. So she's going to do another liquid hell. And then she's going to do another double generate with a random liquid hell and a stack marker. Now you can kill her before all this goes off. So these generates will spawn, and then they will disappear if you have her low enough or kill her. They'll disappear. But until they are fully gone, you can run into them on accident and wipe the raid. But typically the last mechanic that you'll see is this double generate, random liquid hell, and a stack marker. You just resolve that the same as before, and then you move into the intermission. So we'll go over the intermission here, and then we'll do Nael in a separate video. So for the intermission, there's going to be a Heaven's Fall that drops in the middle of the arena. It does proximity damage, and it does a knockback. So the markers are going to be about halfway between the middle and the edge. It's a perfect spot to stand for the knockback. So we stacked in this Neuralink. I've seen people stack in other Neuralinks. You don't have to stack in a Neuralink just as long as you're 50-50 between the middle of the room and the edge. After this happens, you're going to want to get healed up. So healers, if you have a swift cast or if you can time it correctly, you can just do that. Then everyone moves. And 2 things will happen. 4 players will get hit by Meteor Stream dives, and then the other 4 players will get hit by Meteor Stream dives. They do splash damage. If you get hit by 2, you will die. And then there will also be these thermionic, I think these are called thermionic beam pie slices, and then they will do half the arena, then the other half will go off. So we just spread out, dodge one into the other, everyone gets hit, and then Nael will drop onto the main tank and do splash damage again. So you don't want to be by the main tank, so you just spread, dodge your pie slices, and then we're ready to do Nael here in our next video.